Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. It's me, Brian Fitzy, and this is another episode of Building Blocks. Today I'm in the studio, and I figured we would build on the thing that we did a couple lessons ago. If you did not see it, I brought a drum sample in. I basically just played a quick beat on the drum kit in a live room, tracked that, and then I showed you how to cut it up and build something new out of it. So what I think I'm going to do today is I'm going to load that session up, and we're going to add some stuff to it. And I'm going to show you how to record a guitar sample and just play something in and then chop that up, and how to build a composition out of just a couple really tiny things. And we're going to get a little bit weird with them, I think, specifically. So I'm going to go into Pro Tools here, and I am going to pull this session up. We actually did this episode back in June. This was June 10th. So I'm going to show you that session here. Switch over to that tab for you. This is what we were working with. So we've got this drum groove here, and I had actually chopped this up pretty significantly. Let me show you what this bit sounds like right here. I love this bit right here where it stutters. And I'll let it play on. Extra kick hits here. Pretty cool. So, what I want to do is I want to just add some more stuff to that. So, got this drum groove. It's already locked up. We gridded this to 122 beats per minute. The sample was not brought in at that speed, but we gridded it up to that. Let me show you the window here for the mix screen. So, one thing that I want to do right away before I even lay any guitars, I just want to make this pop just a little bit more. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a compressor. And I'm just going to dial this in. This is one of my favorite compressors to work with. This is an LA2A Emulation. There's tons of different ones out there. And there's some free plugins, too, that you can use that will emulate this kind of leveling amplifier. I can't really speak to how well they're going to work, but I know that they do exist and they will do a thing. But if you just have your basic compressor with whatever comes with your DAW, whether it's GarageBand or Logic or Pro Tools like this, any compressor you're going to be able to get results with. So I'm going to bypass this, play the track for you, and then I'm going to enable it. This is the bypass button up here. I'll enable it, and partway through, and I'll just dial in the settings to where I like it. It's already got a little bit more pop to it, which is great. I could do a little bit of EQ on it, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So, let's go over to our edit window, and I'm going to bring in a bit of guitar. So I'm going to create a new track. It's going to be a mono audio track because this is just one channel. And I've already got my guitar plugged into the first channel of my interface here. So I'm just going to name this guitar. And I'm just going to play something, and we'll see if this guitar is in tune. First off. Cool. Alright, so I'm just going to play a little thing, and I haven't thought about this at all, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's in there. we need to actually hear it. It was incredibly quiet. let's check out what we got. So real simple chord progression, 2 chords, a little bit of picking in between. First thing I want to do is I want to step the volume of that up. It's just super, super quiet. And I'm also going to use an amp sim, which pretty much every single plugin, every single recording environment is going to offer something like that. I normally would not track a guitar direct like this as my main source, but I do like to track guitars direct as a backup, because you can always take that and reamp that signal and send it into an amp and have unlimited control on trying different pedal combinations, mic placement, amp combos. You could literally, however many different things you have that are physical pieces of equipment, you could use all of them and dial in something that's going to have a sound that's going to be really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this here, switch over to the mix window, and I'm just going to do some general treatment to this track. While it plays, I'm going to load some plugins. So here we go. Put some reverb on it too. Just gonna use the basic Pro Tools reverb. Okay, let's hear it with the drums now. See what we got. So what I'm going to do now is, that's locking up right now with the original unmodified drum sample. So I'm just going to drag the audio back over. Let me show you the edit window here. Just going to drag that back over and let's check that out. Cool. Alright, let's mess with this a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the drums, but we're going to do this a little bit differently. Instead of going off of just rhythmic hits and slicing that way, I want to actually try to find some spots on this track that are individual hits, you know, individual, kind of the same thing, rhythmic hits and whatnot, but individual parts of the progression, and I want to grab those. So let's listen to it, soloed out. So right off the bat, I've got some small little things that I can grab on. Definitely that. We'll cut that, and we'll take this. And then let's see what this bit is here. So I really like this bit at the end. just that pickup note where it does the chromatic step. These chords, if you were going to go with the bass note, it's going to be B down to A, and then that walk up is A sharp or B flat. So I'm just going to take that B flat. And then what I'm going to do, just to not make this so destructive, is I'm going to duplicate this track. And we're just going to work with this purple one now. This is going to be our slicing canvas. So, one thing we can do right away is just start chopping this up and see what happens. Alright, let's just start moving things around. I'm going to change my grid over to, let's do 16th note. Let's make that the smallest subdivision. So, let's listen to the material first. Check out what this hit is. Cool. Alright, so maybe I'm going to work with a playlist. Bring this over here. Let's actually have it maybe do something like da da da. So those would be on 1, 2, 3. Let's hear that. Cool. Maybe we'll grab the little pickup that's the B flat. And then we'll drag that A over for 2 more stabs. Or let's space it so we have that stab fall right on the quarter note, right on the downbeat of that next bar. Let's hear what that sounds like. Maybe we take just the middle, right? Let's just take the middle of this progression, of this first block. I'm going to just take like 2 beats of it. And I will copy that down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit off of that, and I'm going to make up the difference. So I'm just going to take this here, shuttle that over, and let's just hear what this 1 bar or 1.5 bar sequence sounds like. So it's a little chaotic. Let's try to make some more sense of it, because it's not really doing anything for me. Let's shuffle these down. Let's figure out where we want to go with this. I'm going to bring this one over. And I want to end the bar, actually, with this bit of stuff here. So I don't like now the fact that it's going B, B, B flat. The place of that being just like straight eighths is kind of not really doing anything for me. So I'm just going to scoot it a 16th, and we'll see what that sounds like. The more times it plays, the more I like it. Let's do some other stuff with this. Let's listen to one of the other chords. So we didn't even address this part here. Let's just take some of that A, and I'm going to grab it from the 3rd beat, and I'm going to make a slice there. So we've just got 2 beats, 2 quarter notes, 1 half note worth of that second chord there, that A chord. So why don't I just bring that over here? And then we need 2 more beats worth of stuff. So maybe let's get weird. I'm just going to stagger that. I'm actually going to stretch this out to fill the gap. Stagger this. One of the things I really like to do when I'm working with samples like this is it's cool to have to know exactly where everything is, and sometimes I will assign them to the MIDI keyboard and be able to just play them in real time along with the drums and just track them in that way. But I like working with them with audio when it's just like raw like this. And sometimes instead of thinking about things with lots of intent, sometimes it's just good to think about looking at them as blocks that you can't identify, almost taking, not being able to hear, working with it totally deaf, and just seeing what happens when you try to cut things up and have them fit into a space. So we still need a dotted eighth worth of audio here. We need 3/16. So I'm just going to look, and I'm just going to grab a random section. I'm going to take that, and let's take one more eighth note, 2/16 here, and I'm going to bring that over too. I'm going to make our edits our primary source now. So let's just hear this. This is 2 bars, and it's either going to be cool or it's not. Here's playback. So, things that I like are the first bar, and I like the first half of the second bar. I do not like this part. It's just not doing anything. So, that's gone. I am going to take, though, this, and I'm just going to copy it. Let's hear this. I mean, honestly, just the second half is kind of dope on its own. I mean, because it's not a perfect sample. It's not a perfect slice. So let's just, honestly, let's check that out with the drums and see what happens. So, here we go. Let's check out those 2 bars. That's cool. I'm gonna copy that phrase, that little slice, down a couple times. I'm going to also move the unmodified drums into a playlist. So if you're not familiar with what a playlist is, it's basically a lane for other possible takes to go. So if you were doing a vocal track and you wanted to do what's called comping, where you do a bunch of different takes and then you pick the best parts from each take and you build a final take from that. The fastest and most efficient way to do that is with playlisting, where you just can immediately go through all the takes, and they're only going to play one at a time on the same track. So you don't have to have like 10 tracks for all of your different takes. So whether you're an MC or a vocalist, you can take the exact same approach. You can take the same approach with laying a guitar solo or any kind of part. Multiple drum takes. You could go through and pick the best fills and everything. Obviously, everything needs to be tracked to the same thing, to the same click. or it's just not going to work. It's not going to work at all. Alright, so one more thing before we call this a wrap. I am going to just put a little bass on this because I think it's really cool. I'm going to copy this drum pattern down, and I'm also going to merge it. All right, so we just need some kind of drum, some kind of bass line to go with this. I'm going to create a virtual instrument. I'm going to switch over to the mix panel for you guys. This is going to be a stereo instrument. Alright, so on this gold track, I'm going to label this bass. And I think I'm going to go really, really simple. I'm just going to use I think I might use a free plugin for you guys. I don't have a ton of those in Pro Tools. But I'd like to use something that you can just get. I was hoping I'd have a plugin from a guy called TAL. Makes all sorts of different free synthesizers. Let's just do something like a mini Moog. That'll work. So let's find a sound. I think just a basic oscillator synth is cool, and I'm just going to change the frequency. We talked about the cutoff frequency. We talked about synthesizers a few episodes ago, and all the same rules apply here. Cool, that'll work. Alright, so I'm just going to let it play, and we'll see what works. I'm going to listen to what the samples are first. So it's got that little jump where it goes B down to B flat. Instead of just doing a basic thing like, I'm going to jump up the octave to the B flat, so it goes. So I'm actually going to go a whole major seventh down to the A. Right down to the A there. So I'm going to give myself a bar, and then I'm just going to track that in. One more time. That's in there as MIDI now. I'm going to do one more pass on it and just try something slightly different. Alright, let's make the bass sit just a little bit bigger. I hope you're wearing headphones right now, because that sounds nasty in here in the studio. That bass is big. I'm going to make a master track and just throw a limiter on this just to bring everything up a little bit. And I'm going to throw a little bit of reverb on the drums too. I just want to kind of mess with them a little bit. Maybe a digital delay on the drums too. Just to wrap this up. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to select this so this just plays in a perpetual loop while I make some tweaks. Got the digital delay on the drums now, which gives some ghosting. A little bit of bottom on the kick. I'm really digging that. I hope you're all really digging that. I think that's pretty cool. And on that note, I'm going to call it a day. This has been Building Blocks. I'll see you next Wednesday at noon. Make sure to share this up. And if you want to see me perform live, I'll be doing that every single Friday. Head over brianfitzy.com or on Facebook here or YouTube or twitch.tv/brianfitzy. I'll see you all next week. Have a great one.